I've received a lot of various requests, awesome commissions, constructive criticism, and encouragement by all of you, and I fear I'll never catch up on replying to all the comments I want to reply to, but just please do know that I'm reading your thoughts and taking your tips, lores, and requests to heart. And if I haven't replied to you in a certain amount of time, it's because I'm looking for a time to sit down and read through your comment and like actually give you feedback about your comment, because thank you. Like a lot of you left some really long and really informative comments, and I really want to like give that my attention as I reply to it and stuff. So sorry. This series has been super fun so far, and I'm learning so much about editing My Little Pony and just lore and creature design, and I appreciate every single one of you. I look forward to moving on from horses later on, and I hope you'll stick with me through that. All right, no more niceties today. Time to haunts. For once, I did some real research on Starlight's appearance in the My Little Pony extended universe. I knew she was some cultish leader and was somehow a real threat to Twilight and her friends, but I didn't quite realize how large that threat was. She's quite intimidating in her first appearance, very pleased and sure of herself and almost sociopathic. She's done the unthinkable and the impossible, robbed innocents of their passions and dreams and futures, gaining power and control not unlike some other villains of the series, but in a very subtle, manipulative way. She's strong, calculated, conniving, manipulative, as I said. Girly even uses brainwashing techniques. I mean, hello? Her first thoughts of Twilight's appearance aren't, oh no, a princess might see what I'm doing. It's, oh, having a princess under my control and in my cult will give me even more lackeys. I mean, we love a confident queen, but girlfriend, that's cold. Now, I will address the elephant in the room as my undecided hands swap colors frantically. Starlight Glimmer, Twilight Sparkle. Their names are very similar sounding. It sounds like a tongue twister when you mention them together. I also found their appearances incredibly similar as well. Light purple coat, dark mane. If I saw one that wasn't directly beside the other, I'd get them really mixed up. Granted, Starlight has some more pink in her design, whereas Twilight has more purples and blues, but it's still, the pattern and the choice of colors it was confusing. So with my initial thoughts and options out of the way, let me launch into my rants about my design choices. Be warned, I am referencing my initial species design choices as I tackle Starlight's design. Watch my first video if you'd like an official explanation about the differences in species I settled upon. Firstly, I really wanted to emphasize Starlight's rigid severity in her first appearance through her choice of haircut, just as I emphasized it in my Twilight redesign. Another plug. You should really check that video out if you haven't seen it already. I chopped her hair into a strict bob, though I chose an asymmetrical look to it as a nod to her deception of her followers with her own cutie mark. She might have looked like she was following her rules, but she was hiding her true thoughts. The image of her on the right has a mane and tail cut similar to her later appearance when she, spoilers ahead, attacked Twilight via time travel. I wanted to emphasize a long, almost overgrown appearance as a reference to her hiding out, waiting for the perfect time to strike. It's also a bit of herself shining through. Her hair is finally able to be what it is meant to be. Her pose is quite a bit more subdued and a little meeker. Let me segue into that. Alright, her poses. I really wanted to convey a confident, almost arrogant pose for her first look, something that really called out her evil intentions and her faith in her plan's fruitions. I gave her a proud tilt of the head, a little smirk, which I swapped up entirely in her second pose. This pose to the right I crafted to signify her redemption and slightly more humbled state after being accepted into Twilight's friend group. I thought it was a neat way of subtly telling her story of change. Now, I bashed her colors in the beginning, and let me do so again. She looks quite similar to Twilight with her light coat of purple and her darker mane. Her colors gave me quite the struggle initially. I played around with a bunch of shades and saturations in an attempt to lessen her similarity to Twilight, and I ultimately ended up switching her colors entirely and adding a little bit of pink. I think it still works, and it separates her a little bit more from Twilight, although in my newest Twilight redesign she is quite a bit darker as well, so I don't know if I even succeeded. Okay, I'm yapping so much here, but I just gotta tell you guys about my last minute choice of drawing her staff of separation. She used this staff as a prop to remove cutie marks, and I really wanted to include it as, you know, a reference to her background. I also decided to add this cultish looking stole, which is a scarf-like piece of apparel for some religious practices. I don't mean to say a stole is culty, I'm just drawing inspiration from priestly garb because it really symbolizes Starlight's deception. She totally used a piece of religious or special cloth to manipulate the feelings of her followers. I strapped the staff of separation to Starlight, which really adds to her first appearance in the series. Didn't she kind of wander about for a good while with her followers before they settled in a really far away place to like practice their beliefs secretly. And here I think she really quite looks similar to a wandering religious leader, a false one, beckoning others to follow and have no fear. Okay, at long last, here she is. You'll notice I changed her name as well, and I confess I didn't put too much thought into it. It merely reflected her original name's cadence and letter arrangement while still being separate from Twilight's name. It's Twilight, Starlight, Twilight Sparkle, Starlight Glimmer. I really like her expressions, poses, and accessories. They really tell a story of change and deception. While her color switch is a bit jarring and kind of takes a bit to get used to, I think I quite like it now. She still looks similar to my own Twilight, but it's different enough to tell the two apart, especially since I made her quite a bit sturdier and bigger than Twilight. Also, I did not change much with her cutie mark. I simply extended it down her flank as I like that look better. The reason why I didn't completely redesign her cutie mark is, well, one, I got my eyes opened recently by Sketch's Art Corner. I was told that Twilight's cutie mark is in fact the symbol for magic itself. So me changing up Twilight's cutie mark would kind of messes that up a little bit. So Twilight's cutie mark is the actual literal symbol of magic, signifying her strength in magic, basically prophesying that she would invent a new type of magic, friendship magic. So Starlight has a similar sparkles in her own design, which is the symbol of magic, and Starlight is a very, very powerful unicorn. So it makes sense. It makes sense that she would have the symbol of magic in her cutie mark, so I kept it the same. What do you guys think? Do you like the hidden details and nods to her history and future? Let me know. I wish I had the time to do more research before my other designs, but alas, I must learn from this. Before you ask, I almost didn't watch Trixie's debut episodes, but while writing the script, I became curious about Trixie's origins, as I didn't want to just launch into her design without saying something about her story. And honestly, her story and arc is quite similar to that of Starlight's. It's no wonder they bonded a bit. Trixie, the Great and Powerful, is a traveling magician actress. She's quite the braggart in her first appearance, and her ultimate goal is to humiliate Twilight and be the better unicorn magician. She also mentioned something about a soul-sucking evil amulet, but I did not look into that. So, the first thing I noticed of Trixie was her cloak, hat, and of course the gem on her chest. Her cutie mark resembles that of a wand, and that wand is referenced in Trixie's first appearance when she brags about beating an Ursa Major. I decided I really want to design her cloak and add accessories that really emphasize her traveling history, which in turn affected my ability to focus on redesigning her features. So her character design suffered, but her clothes got an upgrade. I kept her colors and overall look quite similar to her canon design, only focusing on changing her features to match my species differences. Before I launch into my explanations for her accessories, I'm going to interrupt your viewing experience to humbly request your undying a subscription or possibly a like. It would show me you're enjoying my hard work and would like to see more. And you'd gain the title of Subscribbler. I have settled on that name. I think it's cute. You'd be notified when I post next, if you do oblige. I'd also like to thank my members as well. I appreciate your presence and support and extra favors. I'm also now posting some free sneak peeks on Patreon and such. It was kind of difficult to learning to post in multiple places. I'm doing my best. And I may begin offering some pony bases there. I mostly just post things that I don't post on YouTube on Patreon. So if you're curious about seeing more behind the scenes stuff, because, if I don't forget to post things, yeah, that's what that's for. If a lot of people express interest, I will begin offering pony bases there in the future that you can color in or print yourself, something like that. Thank you to all who have obliged long before this video, and to all who have decided to join this community recently. I appreciate your company. Alright, I've sapped enough. Back to the great and powerful Trixie. The real overhaul was Trixie's cloak and trappings. I'm drawing inspiration from Naturix's adorable Animal Kingdom designs. I seriously love how she adds little belts and little pouches and bags to her traveling fantasy animals. It just breathes so much life and humanity into them. Trixie's belts and pouches and sheaths serve several purposes, such as keeping her cloak secure, keeping magical powders or cards on hand for her various tricks, and keeping her most prized secrets, recipes, and or props or weapons on her person, safe from theft. Such weapons and props include her wand, which I redesigned to have a pretty snowflake or star-like pattern since I didn't show her cutie mark, and a sharpened metal cap for her horn. This could take the place of a sword and both protects her horn and increases the damage of physical attacks. Why a sword, you might ask? Why would she have a sword? To that I say, a sword is kind of a classic weapon inspiration for magic shows. There's one trick I remember where a sword is used to cut a box with a person in it into two, and it can be used as a prop, a decoration, or a shock factor for her shows. Also, as a traveling lone magician, Trixie probably needs to stay armed and ready. Offense or defense magic isn't easy, and she sadly isn't the best at her tricks. She's a lone mare traveling through wild forests, magic-infested kingdoms, and dangerous terrain with unfriendly creatures. Really needs a sword. Well, because I do not have much knowledge about Trixie and only drew one pose for her, I have run out of things to say, so here she is. I experimented a bit with chromatic aberration and revisited an old technique I tried for texturing using decimals. And I tried out something new with her tail. Let me know if you like it. I honestly really love her nude cloak. It looks like trails of nebulas and stars. I'm also loving all the belts and sheaths and buckles. They really make her look like a traveling adventurer with tales and exaggerated stories of her quests and feats in faraway lands. Tell me your thoughts about my renditions of Trixie and Starlight below. Which one was your favorite in the show, and which one is your favorite here? Would you have done anything different? Do you disagree with any of my takes? Comment your opinions or constructive critiques below. I'm excited to hear what you think. Another two pony video. I am not fast enough to do more than that at the moment. I think Nightmare Moon and Daybreaker will be next, but we'll have to see. If you're interested in some hopefully cheapish pony bases for coloring and the like, let me know. I would really like to begin offering higher quality art in my shops or on Patreon, and I plan on doing a huge merch overhaul in the near future since my Forgotten store really definitely needs it. Thank you to all who stuck around, and a special thank you to the artists who are using their time and skills to draw my little mascot. Every time I see her in a new style or with like a unique twist or something, I'm just kicking my feet and giggling. You've robbed the skill store when it comes to arting. I wish all watching artists or creators out there the best of luck in their artistic endeavors. I'll see you all next time, and may the Lord bless you and keep you.